welcome to the Tech Therapy Podcast. I'm your host, BJ Hamaker, the CMO of Nucleus. Tech Therapy is here to save you from busy work so you can focus on what's fulfilling and profitable. Stick around to the end of the show. We'll reveal how you can be our next guest in around 20 minutes. Let's go. All right. Well, welcome to this podcast episode of Tech Therapy with Dianne Jeppson. She's the founder of Ensign Peak Academy, which is an online school which offers K through 12 education, right, Dianne?
Yeah, that's right. Thanks for having me, BJ.
It's a pleasure to have you. And Pace is with us, of course, muting off and on. We've got some construction work in the background or something.
Yeah. So, tell us, like, how did the school start? And I think you said you've been with it for a few years. Is that right?
Yeah, that's right. So I founded the school 4 years ago. I've been working at another private school for 6 years and really enjoyed my time there. Learned a lot. But before that, I homeschooled for 25 years. Wow. And I thought, I don't know any schools that are run by homeschoolers. Wouldn't that be an interesting thing to design a school that supports a homeschool culture? Because school and homeschool, two different beasts. But
yeah, I mean, there's a huge variety in homeschooling. From just basically, it's COVID, let's send our kids home with the textbook, and here's the curriculum. We'll print it off directly from the teacher's manual and send it to the parents. They've got to do all the work. Or things that are a lot more unstructured, down to unschooling. So how does it usually fall in Ensign Peak? Is it more on the structured side, unstructured, or is this specific topics you focus on?
Well, that's a great question, and you're right. And there's a whole new emergence of homeschoolers now that say they didn't feel this fire in the belly about homeschooling. It's not like they felt called to do it or anything. They're just doing it because they don't see any other viable alternative. They're just really unhappy about whatever's going on at school. So we do have our own curriculum. We're a curriculum development company as well as a school. So we've designed our courses in Canvas, which is a learning management system. And we use very good instructional design principles and practices. And that's neat because when the students come into their course, it's engaging immediately, it's multimedia, it's a lot of cloud sourced things, and it's very easy to use. So we have the full array of subjects and courses for kindergarten through 12th grade, all built into Canvas. And we offer them as live courses. Let's say you want your child to sign into a live Zoom class, then you can do that. Or you can do a self-paced course. We just give you access to our courses, then you submit things, and our awesome teachers will give feedback and grades to your students. You could earn a high school diploma, or you can use it independently. Let's say you just want to use it in the classic homeschool way. So here's our course, do whatever you want with it. You're not submitting anything to us for feedback.
Amazing. So yeah, I do have some experience with Canvas with the coding school that I teach at, and it's it certainly has a lot of options. Very robust. Was the school kind of envisioned as a remote first experience, or did it start much more in person?
Oh no, it was envisioned from the beginning as a virtual school, and thank goodness, we rolled out about a year and a half before the pandemic, and who knew? I feel kind of bad for all these school directors of brick and mortar schools that have to pull an online school out of their back pocket in like 2 weeks. It took us about a year before we opened our doors and started admitting students of full-time work of creating the whole school. But the neat thing is, if you envision a school from the beginning, it's not developed piecemeal. In other words, everything is a really consistent, predictable experience for parents. A lot of people go to schools or especially at the university level, each professor is using a different learning management system, or they have a different just approach to the way they even manage their syllabus. So it's really neat to be able to design a school starting out with, hey, what are all the pain points that we can solve for families? Because at the end of the day, what we want to offer is, and I believe what we do offer, is a family-centered, school-supported program that allows for flexibility, that puts parents in the first place. I know that's a hot issue right now, and that is low tuition. And, you can pick the tuition level that your family can afford, whether you use independent, self-paced, or live, they all have different price points.
Oh, that level of flexibility is pretty amazing. I mean, definitely, we don't get to choose what what public school costs us. And frankly, it costs everyone. People keep, it's one of those many things that people throw around as free, but there's a huge cost associated with the taxes involved and everything. So I really appreciate you doing something like that, giving people choices and having some flexibility.
So in terms of the impact that it's having right now, like how many students do you have, and how many are in like each section? Say like if K through 6 and then middle school and then high school, is it about even?
Well, we did a little pilot last year with elementary. This year we did more of a elementary program, and that's continuing to grow. So right now we have about 42 students in elementary, about 130 students in high school, and the rest are in middle. And so we have about 280 students there in 30 different states and 5 different countries. So that's neat. Students are able to meet people whose lifestyle is really different. We have ranchers, or maybe inner city in Chicago, or maybe on the coast of Florida. We have students in Hawaii, Alaska, Connecticut, and we have a student in Uganda, Saudi Arabia, Mexico, Canada. So that's fun. And our teachers live in 18 different states. So that's neat too. And our administrators live in different states. I have a middle school program director in El Paso, Texas. I'm in the ranching community in small rural central Utah up in the mountains. And then another one lives in North Dakota, bless her heart. That's what you say when you say if someone lives in North Dakota. But I think we're doing a pretty dynamite job, especially with our high schoolers now, getting them ready for their future careers and for college and for their family. And then this coming year, we're going to be rolling out a live elementary school program, because we've just had live for middle and high, but we're going to start offering live classes for 4th, 5th, and 6th graders. We've had a lot of requests from that, so I'm pretty excited about that rollout.
Nice. Yeah, we're very familiar with the remote first culture too. I mean, I think at one point we had 12 states or something like that, and just like one person per state. And it can be a bit of a payroll nightmare sometimes. But yeah, the benefits definitely outweigh any of the costs and just the flexibility.
Yeah, it's nice. It's nice when you can build a castle in the clouds and everybody can, just participate from where they are. That's pretty sweet. So, Ensign Peak Academy, obviously, it's competing with thousands of other schools. I mean, 3 years ago, it was competing with hundreds of other schools. But at this point, obviously the demand spiked like beyond all comprehension. And so, when people are looking, they may have lots of different options, even just within their own state or even within their own county, or a cloud school like yours. What is it you feel like Ensign Peak Academy does better than the competition?
Well, that's a great question. And, there's something about us that narrows the field of competition down to a very small list. And that is that we're a school who is established to teach members and friends of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. Okay, so first thing out of the chute, the only people who are really going to be interested in attending our school are members of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. Although we have had 4 that I know of who are not, and they're just basically taking math courses, right? So we have designed our curriculum to integrate concepts and doctrines that are part of that specific denomination of Christianity. So that's good. But we've looked carefully at the other institutions that do serve Latter-day Saint families, and there's not very many of them. And so, some of them they don't have a dedicated classroom for virtual students. They may just be a camera in a live class. So that's not as exciting, or they cost more, or their curriculum is more all over the place. It's not consistent with an overarching plan, or it's not comprehensive in terms of offering every subject that is needed. And so, or it's not offering a diploma,
Hey, that's
So
going to be a major thing. I mean, all those things you just said, your school has a whole different shape than a lot of the other people. A camera in the back of a classroom feels totally different than, say, a Zoom format class with like with slide presentations, different things like that, which would feel different from, obviously one-on-one tutoring, which would be extremely expensive. But having accreditation that's going to be a big deal. It takes a long time, right?
yes, it took us about 2.5 years. We're accredited with Cognia, which is an international accrediting body and very well respected. I think it's one of the gold standard, if not the gold standard for accreditation, and accepted by the BYUs, the Brigham Young universities. There's several schools that are owned and operated by our church. So
Nice.
obviously that would be the main university that our students would go to.
I was going to ask something about that too, specifically regarding high school options. So much of that has changed in the past few decades, but going from AP to IB to concurrent enrollment, and now especially since you have kind of a path for many of the students, now especially because there's more online learning options available in that network too. How does that look in the school as far as the options for nearing graduation?
Yeah, great question. We do concurrent enrollment with BYU Idaho. They have a fantastic system. It's like $35 a credit, and the students can start doing that in their junior year. They can accrue quite a number of credits, and so we have courses that match course for course. They can take it through BYU Idaho and fulfill Ensign Peak Academy graduation requirements. So that's neat. We're not coordinated with any IB courses, nor do we offer any AP at this time. It's something that we may be interested in looking at in the future. Curiously, I've heard some fair criticism for the International Baccalaureate program. It may not be consistent with our school's mission. So I don't know if I haven't looked into it closely. I've just talked to some parents that were concerned about the direction that it was going.
Yeah, I would just think the overhead and having additional tests outside of the norm wouldn't be as valuable as just having transferable college credit. But I think it's a really good flexible method.
We are NCAA eligible now, though. We achieved that about 3 months ago. So that's exciting. We can start having athletes come to our school, and I think they will find that really attractive because they have a busy schedule, they're practicing a lot, and so it's nice if they can have more flexibility with their school time.
You might have to throw the football pretty far, though. I mean, if they're going to play.
Yeah, it's like you probably don't have an official team or anything.
Yeah, that's kind of a funny thing. A lot of virtual schools just offer participation credit for directed instruction programs in the student's local area. So that's what we do. You get a P on your transcript, right? But it's because you went, right? Yeah. So we have a form, and then the director of the program needs to fill it out, attesting that they had so many hours of direct instruction, so many hours of indirect practice associated with that instruction. So that's neat because our students can do virtually anything: fencing, yoga, they can do soccer, or one kid did skeet shooting. That was his thing. You could do horseback riding, right? I mean, so that's a lot more opportunity than you would have in a brick and mortar. But during the pandemic, all these gyms closed and our students were having a hard time fulfilling their PE credit requirement. So instead of just waiving that requirement, we figured out 2 sports you could learn online. Do you want to guess what they are?
Golf, bowling.
So we offered yoga and running. Now, yoga, they actually do the yoga online, with their teacher. That found this really nice lady in Canada, and she taught yoga all last year. And then we offered running. Now, they don't actually run on Zoom, but they learn all about running and they set goals. So basically the teacher says, we're going to take you from couch to 5K by the end of the semester.
That's a good one. I had a C2 5K app on my phone for a while, and I didn't get there, but that's okay. It helped me get more fit. It's worth the effort. But that's cool. I was just racking my brain, like, what in the world are you gonna? Because in college I took a ping pong class, then I took a full size tennis class, And I took fencing also, which was an absolute gas with my older brother, which was I mean, he was better than me because he'd taken it for a semester. It was always fun to see who got better faster. It was never who I'd predict. So that taught me something about my own, my own prediction capabilities. But anyway, that's hip. Do you have any other is there a competitive organization within the school for academics?
Well, that's a good question. We haven't had like a
Mathletes or anything?
Yeah, I was trying to think of what you would call those competitions that I've seen. We haven't done that. We do have an honor seminar that is every 9 weeks we start a new honor seminar, and that's really neat because it's more of a directed readings and discussion platform. So we have themes, and it's for 4 years, so they can take 16 of them if they want to.
So I've never heard of an honors seminar. Is it like a symposium or what's the deal?
Yeah, that's exactly right. So we have this incredible mentor who has a PhD and has taught at the university level for years, and she's just one of the most well-read, interesting people I've ever met, and she's in California. And so she just has put together these awesome honor seminar experiences where they do short readings, they do novels, they do film, poetry, speeches. So they will do that on their own, then they get together and discuss it at length. So it's an extra long class period. It's once a week.
That's hip.
So what kind of technology is, aside from Canvas and Zoom, is it that mostly covers the infrastructure, right? You don't have to do a lot more, and CRM or anything like that is financial accounting, business stuff.
We do, yeah. So we use QuickBooks and for our accounting, which I love, and we use WordPress for our website, and that's been helpful because I myself can go in there and change my website. I don't even have to know coding. And that's lovely. Although we do run into issues. And so people like BJ are helping us with that.
Fantastic.
Yeah. And I've had a few other people just fix problems, but WordPress customer support is awesome.
Oh, good.
They're just like that. They fix my problem.
Yeah, because you work directly with WordPress on your hosting.
Most people don't actually use WordPress as hosted service. They're used
hosted service.
These these third-party implementations that are hosted on other service providers, and those often have mixed results.
Yeah, I actually went down that road for about 2 days, and then I said to myself, no, I will pay to have the hosted service because it also comes with a G Suite, so I get all my school email addresses through there and big giant Google Drive. And we have thousands of documents on Google Drive.
Wow. Well, yeah, like thousands and thousands, right?
Yeah, like that.
Right.
Holy cow.
Lots of curriculum material. Fantastic.
Yeah, curriculum, and of course all our administrative shared documents, since we're not in a physical location together. Like I said, we're in 18 different states as faculty and administrators, so we need to have a really reliable system where we can share documents.
Right.
I use Stripe for our merchant service, and I use WordPress Simple Pro Pay. Maybe I'm saying that wrong. WP Simple Pay. Anyway, I'm not totally in love with it right now, but
Stripe has its own WordPress plugin, which I think is free if you already have a Stripe account. So you might want to just switch over to something that's more native to both, rather than something that's not related to either, but acts as a go-between. Sometimes it's nice to just marry them up.
Yeah, that's a good point. They just sent me an email. I think it's WP Simple Pay. I have to look it up. WP stands for WordPress. So they just came out with a new ACH payment service that will only charge $5 per transaction, which is great because imagine we're taking these lump sum tuition payments. We may have more than $100 just goes to merchant fees. Last year, my biggest expense for the entire school, merchant fees. Is that crazy?
That's gross.
Yeah, it is gross.
That's highly avoidable. I've been using I've been using Zelle lately, or maybe it's pronounced Zelly, but it's ZELLE.
Yeah,
and I think it's free.
It was years ago it had another brand name, but yeah, through the banks. I'm actually thinking about doing that too. Like for the next startup, just use Zelle Pay, and then Facebook Pay would be the other one that interfaces well with debit cards.
Huh.
And that's to consider as a method of payment, because apparently you can sign up as a business and it doesn't cost anything. It's just not
crazy
about that.
I don't even know what their
Yeah.
business model is. That's just like a huge mystery. But yeah, I've got a client. I've got a client that pays me sizable payments every month, and I don't have to, kiss $40 goodbye every time. It's
Right.
nice.
Yeah, that is nice. I would love that. I've been connecting with I collected a lot of merchant account information. I'm just vetting and comparing different services to see if I can find something better. Stripe is so easy to use.
Yeah.
And they're so
that was
robust.
yeah, I know. Yeah. It was real. I was watching their rise from the very beginning because I was like, is somebody going to get it right? Is somebody going to do like online payment systems that don't suck, that just feel like you're at a store? Like, can I swipe my credit card in my computer or something? What's going to happen? And I feel like they really stuck the landing before anybody else.
Yeah, as far as integrations go, they have a really, really strong one. I actually do like QuickBooks online, their payment processing. It's pretty quick, especially if you do if you like set up the account that they offer as well. But yeah, there's
Oh, that's neat. Yeah, thanks for telling me about that. I actually didn't know they did that. Learned something new.
Yeah.
I'm curious too about Canvas, because if you're teaching at a coding school pace, when you're trapped in a piece of software like that and everybody's got clever ideas, is it open in any way or is it really locked down? I'm super curious if you guys have hacked it in any way.
It's fairly locked down. There are integrations that work well for code testing. So there's this one called Code Grade, and it's an integration, some third party, where you can pass. You have to set up a GitHub repository, so just a project folder, and link it to, you put the address in, and then you have to authorize your account. It can be a little cumbersome to connect to, and then it can be set up to run a battery of set tests like that you can set up in the code to test the code. So yeah, there are a few things there, and I would say with a system like that, the size that it is, you get where you need to go with integrations.
Yeah, you don't want to.
There's an API as well, but outside of just, if there's no strong API, you're really at the mercy of the limitations of whatever big box system they have. So thankfully it is one of the most robust, configurable course systems out there. Not so much like on the social side, but more just on the curriculum and just course and lesson tracking and grading and stuff.
I'm a huge fan. They are Johnny on the spot, really competent support, extremely robust features, easy to use, good training, good onboarding. They're there 24/7 for us, and they're fantastic. The other biggest service I use is Cvent, CVENT. It's an event registration platform, but they have a lot of other services that they do as well. And I was an event planner for years and years before I started the school, and so I was already using them, and I thought, gee, I wonder if it could be configured to be a student information system as well, and I could use it for enrollment. That would be crazy cool, since I'm already paying for it, and Assist is really expensive. So I called them up and asked them about that, and they said, oh yeah, a lot of schools use it, universities use it. And I thought, oh wow, I'm so excited. So I fiddled around a lot with it and talked to their support a lot. I ran through several iterations of a new enrollment tool, and finally was able to get it all developed, and we rolled it out this last year, and enrollment was fantastic. It went so well. And they have, so I can do enrollment, I can do event registration for all my tours and in-person events, and they have e-marketing section of it. So I can segregate all the lists, and then I can market just to who I want to talk to, like just the middle schoolers, or just the self-paced, or the people who went on our Holy Land tour, and so
that's very interesting. I might want to dig deeper in another conversation with you about how that works, because
because I'd be curious how, if it talks to your other software. I mean, if when you get an invoice through QuickBooks, if it tells it directly, do you have to type it in manually?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
Well,
that's not fair. Now I know here, Dianne, every time you tell me about something interesting that needs to be done, it sounds to me like you're going to be the one doing it. And I know you wear a lot of hats, and I know that you've started this thing from scratch, so you have the big picture, but I'm super curious, like how much of the administration you do, or if you have, some people around who help with stuff like that.
Yeah, that's a great question. When you start something, and we started, I worked at a tech startup for about 8 months, and they paid me really well. And that was the second job as an administrator at another private school. And so I was just banking all my extra money from that second job. And then I quit both to start the school, and I had about 8 months lead time where I didn't have to work on anything except starting school. So I could just work around the clock, so I had enough to pay my bills, So basically I guess it's like bootstrapping, So I didn't have any investors. It's a corporation. So then so in the beginning, yeah, everything was me, but slowly I've been able to offload and offload and offload things so I can do what I really want to do, which is talk to parents and students about what their needs are and help them to arrange for just the perfect fit for them. I'm really good at that and I love it. So this next year starting in July, I have a lovely, lovely person who's going to take over all the invoicing, and that will be really nice because, I like bookkeeping. It's not bad, but it's not my highest and best use as you would say.
That's right. Yeah, my personality is a dead mismatch for it. But yeah, my mother is an accountant. She's a very orderly person, very like objective oriented. Gets a little thrill from checking off a box.
Yeah,
like that's not my brain at all. But I'm glad there are people like that.
Well, you have to be like that to be a good administrator. And you know what?
Yeah.
It's nice to have. I love people and I love details, and so both of those things help me to be able to administrate. And I have a pretty good aptitude for organization and task management and all those things. So neat rows and columns of numbers are attractive to me. And I've made ever so many hundreds of budgets, on Excel and Google Sheets and QuickBooks. So I'm a pretty good QuickBooks ninja now, but I wouldn't say I am a particularly techie person, but I do know how to ask for help. I know how to hire people, and I know how to search for things on Google, and I've watched a million YouTube videos to explain to me how to use all these tech solutions. But sometimes I think, gosh, there's something I'm missing here. There must be a better solution, like this invoicing.
Totally. You don't know what you don't know. It's so crazy that some 999,999 millionths of the universe is a total mystery to every single person walking around, and just like sharing our perspective so that we can just have more eyes. Here between the three of us, we've got 6 eyes instead of 2, and all these different years of experience that we share. It's just such a big deal. So I'm happy you're getting someone to do a little bit of busy work, even if busy work kind of feels good. Because like you said, I mean, what I would love for you is just for you to get phone calls in and enroll people in the school and control the direction of the school, which is I really just have one question left for you, Dianne. What the exciting things are that are coming up. You keep mentioning live events, and I've seen some on your website. I'd love you to tell us about them.
Yeah, boy. I love producing events. I used to be a tour guide, a certified tour guide in Utah. I was the president of the Tour Guide Association. I just think tours are awesome. So now I have a school. So that gives me a perfect excuse to have tours. So we're going to do a big American Heritage tour. We'll hopefully take kids to Europe and definitely to the Holy Land. We've done that, super successful. We'll go down to Guatemala again. I've been working on an internship in Benin. It's in Africa. They speak French. And that's going to be like a humanitarian thing. And we do pioneer reenactment where people dress up like pioneers and they take hand carts and go across these 6 branches up in Wyoming. Oh, and we have this big wilderness adventure in Utah where they get to go rappelling off the side of a waterfall and
I didn't expect that many answers.
That's a lot. That's a lot of hey, we're rock climbing. We're doing humanitarian trips. We're doing all kinds. That's amazing. Everywhere. Fantastic.
And we do have our big conference every year, Simulations Week, where youth come from all over the place. They fly in. We'll have about 300 people there, and it's a week-long event where they take on fictional roles, and they have a fictional scenario that's very challenging, and they have to solve these problems in a week. That's for 12 to 18-year-olds. And that is super fun. I've been doing that one for 23 years. So I just put it under the umbrella of my school, and it gives an opportunity for my students, my faculty to be together in person. But it's also open to the public. So that's been really, really fun to plan that one. But some of the other things we're going to do is we're going to start this live elementary school option. And a really exciting thing that's already starting now, but will continue to grow, is local gatherings of Ensign Peak Academy students. So we're starting to have students in a certain geographic location. Like we have some in Austin, Texas, some in Boise, Idaho, some in Prescott, Arizona, and some near Portland, Oregon area, who are gathering together in person for, say, in the beginning, monthly activities. Like
people can find all of these on ensignpeakacademy.com, right?
Right.
Well, it looks like the time for this episode is actually wrapping up. But I'm thrilled to hear about all those events, and thank you for spending some time with us, Dianne.
Yeah, thank you. It's been fun.
All right. Talk to you again soon.
All right. Yep. Bye-bye.
Bye. DJ Hamaker here. Thanks for listening to the Tech Therapy Podcast. If you're a successful business owner and would like to be a guest on the show, please visit techtherapypodcast.com. If you got something out of this interview, would you share this link on social media or a screenshot or just your comments and include the hashtag TechTherapyPodcast? If you know someone who would be a great guest, tag them on social media and let them know about the show. And remember to use our hashtag TechTherapyPodcast. I love seeing your posts and your guest suggestions. We are regularly putting out new content, so please make sure you don't miss anything by hitting subscribe. Your thumbs up, your ratings, your reviews, your comments, they go a long way to promote the show in the algorithms. So please go ahead and, give us a nice comment or review the podcast. If you want to know more, please go to techtherapypodcast.com or follow the show on LinkedIn, Facebook, and Instagram. We're on Instagram, we're at Tech Therapy Podcast. Thank you for listening. We appreciate your time, and we'll see you next time.